So much effort.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for staying. Thank you for staying till the amazing conclusion of this summit. My name is Aaron Purdy. I am the Associate Director of Programs and Interventions at Health Initiative for Men. I would like to welcome my friends and colleagues here to this panel. Let's give them a round of applause. The panel that we put together today is going to be showcasing some of the work that's actually happening across Canada. You're going to see presentations about 4 individual, kind of separate and distinct programs that are happening across Canada, as well as one other presenter and very special person who is going to be talking about his work in more than one of those programs. This panel is to showcase and highlight the collaboration that's existing between folks like ourselves. Also peppered throughout the room is people who are taking part in each of these projects. There are people in the room who've contributed information in the form of research to these projects. There's clinicians who've contributed their time to these projects as well. And so I just want to recognize that while we're talking about these projects as they are, we actually are talking about work that has been built over the last number of years. And so I'm not going to spend much more time. You're going to hear 5 separate, they tell me 10-minute presentations. And so you're going to see some really exciting things that are happening across the country in gay men's health. And if you've run out of energy to ask questions at the end, that's okay, because I've pre-constructed other questions that I can ask. So you just get to sit and relax and enjoy. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome Jared Starr, and I'm going to read his little biography to you. It's only 16 pages, so don't worry. Jared Starr is the Director of Development for the Sexual and Education Resource Centre of Manitoba and supports the work of CBRC as the National Coordinator for the Totally Outright program. He's a registered social worker with over 10 years of experience in the field of sexuality in roles that range from direct clinical service and programming to research and development. He's also working towards his master's degree in community health sciences at the University of Manitoba and is the lucky recipient of the Joseph Armand Bombardier Canada Graduate Scholarship for his forthcoming research on the health of LGBTQ2S plus service providers who work directly with clients from their own communities. While his work is varied and eclectic, his passion lies in systemic and structural change through the development of sustainable health interventions that promote a more equitable and inclusive society for us all. Welcome to the stage, Jared Starr.
Hi, everyone. How are you doing? Good? Excellent. How many of you have, I'm gonna jump right in. So we only have 10 minutes and I have a lot of things I want to say. So I'm curious, how many of you are involved in Totally Outright in some way, either delivering it or coordinating it? Oh, fantastic. Good. How many of you have completed the program or graduated from Totally Outright? Fantastic. Good. So my name is Jared, and I'm the National Totally Outright Coordinator, and I've prepared for you a very short sort of presentation of some high-level findings about what the what the National Evaluation Report will tell you. It's very exciting stuff. It's a little bit about me. I'm going to start off with just some very basic program stats. I know many of you are involved in the program, so I won't get into it too much, but of course, Totally Outright is a community-level intervention for young gay, bi, trans, queer, two-spirit men. It was created in 2005 by the CBRC, which involved an initial the development process and then a pilot and then a test, and it was designed specifically for the delivery by third-party organizations. So it was packaged as an intervention to be rolled out in other cities and other places. Now, Totally Outright started in Vancouver in 2005. It then It then was adapted in Toronto at the AIDS Committee of Toronto. The third place to pick it up was Winnipeg, which is where I ran Totally Outright for 3 years. And to date, it now runs in at least 9 cities. And I say 9 because Winnipeg does plan on running it again soon. That being said, it might have popped up somewhere else between now and the last time I checked because it has a tendency to do that. So, from the perspective of something that's pan-Canadian, originating in one place, it has a very big reach in our nation today, and that's something I think we should all be very, very proud of. So much so that Totally It Right has actually been embedded in a lot of the strategic plans and operational plans of organizations in Canada. So rather than it just being a one-time project that popped up that someone got funding for, it's sort of become an integral part of the intervention wing or delivery set of a number of organizations, and that's something I think we should also be really proud of. That being said, at the end of 2017, after some research, we found that there were about 705 actually graduates across the country. So who are those graduates and what's the point of the program? These are just a couple pieces from what people told us throughout the evaluation process about what the program aimed to do. It has a lot of positive impacts and a lot of objectives built into it, and a lot of those are customized on the ground. But essentially, there's two broad themes that tie the program together. One, you'll see this language in the original manual written by some of the people in this room, that the program aims to sort of build a core of sex-savvy trendsetters who are knowledgeable in sexual health and who have the skills to be able to deliver that information to their peers in a way that's culturally relevant and effective. Furthermore, it's designed to act as a pipeline to bring people from community into the field of gay and bi men's health and research, and there's a lot of evidence of that I'm going to show you shortly. As long as the program's existed, there has not been a very big, broad, wide scope evaluation to date. So thanks to the support from REACH 2.0 and the Ontario HIV Treatment Network, the CBRC was able to secure a little bit of funds to contract me to coordinate and do the evaluation of Totally Outright. And to that end, we had 4 primary objectives. One, we were really interested at what kind of impact Totally Outright had on the lives of people who completed it. We were interested on the impact of, or if the program had met its goal, its primary goal of empowering gay men to become more peer leaders in their own networks and communities. We were also interested in figuring out how Totally It Right impacted the organizations and communities where it was based, because we knew that there was this interesting ripple effect that occurred after the program got established. And finally, we wanted to know and hear from people who completed the program and people who ran the program about what they thought Totally It Right should look like in the future. A little bit about the methodology. There were 2 large surveys delivered, 45 questions each, one for past graduates and one for coordinators. So all of the people who coordinated the program at one point in time or another filled out the coordinator survey. And we had 148 responses from the graduate survey, which represented about 21% of all graduates in Canada. Now I'm going to go into some of the high-level findings now, just the fun stuff, because we don't have a lot of time, and the forthcoming report will be available after a process of editing on the CBRC website, so take a look for that. But the first finding I want to share with you is this one around health impacts, and it's that Totally Outright does, in fact, have a significant positive impact on the self-reported overall health of graduates, including improvements in mental health, increases in social connections, and reductions in fear, shame, and internalized homophobia. Specifically, one question asked, did participating in Totally It Right have an impact on your overall health? Out of 108 responses, 85% said yes, and when given the opportunity to provide qualitative feedback, all of that feedback was, in fact, positive. And I put in a lot of quotes from the survey here because I think those are the things that are really going to tell you the story of the graduates of the program. So I'll read this one to you. There was an immediate improvement in confidence after completing the program and through the program, and eventually volunteering and working in the community. I was able to foster a support system that I still have in place should anything serious arise. Another quote, it has empowered me to take control of my health and eliminated much of the shame involved. There are other health impacts from the program, and I'll go through them one by one. So the first one is that participating in TO, Totally Outright, leads to the development of lasting personal relationships. So to that end, 88% made a new friend as a result of participating in the program, and 74% of those, the majority, of those new connections were sustained. So really what that says is that people participate in Totally Outright, and they make good friends that stick around for a long time, which of course promotes health. Totally Outright supports the development and enhancement of valuable peer support networks. So we borrowed some questions from the Sex Now survey of 2014-2015 to be able to compare. And we found that they were more likely to spend the majority of their time with gay or bi men than those asked in the 2014-2015 Sex Now survey. And that data was controlled for age. The third finding is that the best parts of Totally Outright for graduates was meeting new people. So from a program planning and delivery perspective, when you put all this time and effort and money into a program and you hear that the best part for them was that they got to hang out with each other, you're a little bit discouraged because you're like, wow, I pulled my hair out for 3 weeks putting this together for you. But at the end of the day, that's actually what we want, right? We want them to get their needs met. So meeting new people, followed by being in an affirming and positive environment and gaining new knowledge, skills, and awareness of sexual health. 96% of the respondents said that they would recommend the program to someone else or to a friend. And finally, another finding, graduates of Totally Outright are more likely to engage in volunteer activities, especially those that are specific to their gay identity. And this was another question we pulled from the Sex Now survey. So this chart here highlights a little bit of that. And if you take a look on the left under TO grads, 65% are involved in some sort of volunteering versus 42% from Sex Now. So there's a higher likelihood that if you complete the program, you're going to donate some of your time to your community. And if you take a look at the second line there, it says that gay activism, organization, recreation, culture, sport activities, they're much more likely. So there's something happening in Totally Outright that encourages graduates and participants to get together with each other and do things that build community outside of the context of the program, which of course is a buffer to some of the negative impacts of socialized stigma, et cetera. Now, when it comes to sexual health, we were really pleased to find that Totally Outright graduates are more comfortable taking control of their sexual health and report testing more frequently as a result. So this question asked, did this program have an impact on your safer sex practices? In other words, as a result of participating in it, did your attitudes towards sexual health change? And nearly 3/4 indicated yes. We know that attitudes are a key component of sexual health behavior change, amongst other things. So if the program is facilitating some sort of attitudinal shift, then we know that the program is doing what we intended it to do. I want to share with you another question. There was one that I don't have in the slides here, but we asked, did your HIV status change after completing the program? 148 people responded to this, so all of the participants. Only one person indicated yes, and he followed it up with a comment. He said, well, I became HIV positive after participating, but I wasn't very much affected by it, in part due to the education I received at TO and how it reduced the stigma around HIV and STIs. I'm more conscious with drug use, mental health in general, but I like to attribute that gain towards me getting more friends, finding community through TO or other programs that I joined as a result of knowing them from Totally Outright. So I think that says a lot about the sexual health impact of participating in the program. Moreover, we asked, tell us how your STI infection or STI testing frequencies changed. And there are, in fact, positive results. 86% indicated that they would share their knowledge of STIs and testing with each other, and over 37% indicated that they would test more frequently. So there's definitely a connection between what people are learning in the program and their testing behavior. My favorite question is coming up. The next question is, another finding, graduates of Totally Outright exhibit positive attitudes towards sexual health and a greater awareness of impacts of sexuality-related stigma. So just some more quotes for you. I'll read the first two and you can read the third on your own because we're almost out of time. Totally Outright gave me more confidence in how I communicate with partners about how we will have safer sex and risk management. So again, the things we really want young guys to be able to do. And the second, as mentioned before, the program helped to remove the unconscious bias I held towards people living with HIV. Also, it helped to reconfirm for me that sexuality is not something to hide or to be ashamed of. My favorite question is that one where we ask them to give advice to youth from their community, right? The future GBT2SQ youth who might participate in Totally Outright. And I'll just leave these up here for you to peruse, and I'll point to the first one. Please be informed, educate yourself, be proud of who you are, make the right changes in your life to make you happy, move if you have to, if possible, and of course, love and support your community. Be involved and help those who need it. Don't judge. You never know what someone's going through. Very quickly, I'm just going to go through some of the findings from the coordinator survey, the most important one of which is the fact that Totally Outright is a pipeline for volunteers and staff in men's health organizations in Canada. And I think that when I asked that question to you when we started, that's evidence of that, right? Like, you are all here, and maybe it's your first time here, and if it is, I want you to really pay attention to your feelings, because my career in gay men's health started on this stage in 2013, and it's been very rewarding and very meaningful for me. So if it's your first time here, keep showing up. That being said, there's a number of other really excellent things you're going to see in the report when it's published. I apologize I can't go through them right now. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is a few more quotes, forgive me, from the end of the survey where guys were able to share whatever they wanted. The first one being, "Let's talk, no shame. Totally Outright changed my life. I would have the confidence, friends, or knowledge that I do today without it." And the third being, "I had a whole new world in front of me after this program. I participated just after coming out of the closet, so this really was my first introduction to the community beyond sex, and it's hard to imagine a better introduction." A few that I did not include here are: stay away from Instagram gays, don't trust no ho, get woke, stay woke, and check your privilege. So with that, I'll leave it to my colleagues to see who's going next. Thank you so much.